What's the worst example of favoritism you've seen at school? In senior year, we had this English teacher, Ms. Harlow, who was blatantly obsessed with the volleyball team captain, Jessica. And I mean, blatant. The favoritism was so obvious it made the whole class uncomfortable, like we were just extras in a play written for Jessica. Jessica would stroll in 10, sometimes 15 minutes late, Starbucks in hand, and Ms. Harlow would just beam at her and say, "Take your time, dear." No sarcasm, genuinely warm and welcoming. Meanwhile, if anyone else was even 30 seconds late, she'd stop the lesson, glare, and assign detention right there on the spot. Didn't matter if you had a good reason, you were still getting a lecture about discipline and how being on time reflects your character. The grading was somehow even worse. Jessica and I were study partners, and one night while working late, we ended up writing the essay together without really meaning to. We brainstormed side by side and accidentally submitted the exact same file, word for word, not a single difference. She got an A+ with brilliant insights scrawled across the top in thick purple ink. Mine came back with a C- and comments like shallow analysis and lacks depth. I just stared at it in disbelief. We turned in the same thing. I thought about speaking up, but something about Ms. Harlow's attitude made it feel dangerous, like she'd turn it back on me and somehow make it worse. Things got even shadier during college application season. Jessica needed an A in advanced English to qualify for this big scholarship. Then, right before midterms were supposed to be returned, Ms. Harlow made this weird announcement that she'd lost everyone's exams and would need to regrade us using a take-home version. Everyone thought it was sketchy, but what could we do? When the new grades came in, Jessica, who'd been averaging a low C, suddenly shot up to the top of the class. No one questioned it, but we all noticed. I was trying to ignore it. I told myself to just get through the semester and be done. But one afternoon, I went back to the classroom after school to grab a notebook I'd left behind. As I got close to the door, I heard Ms. Harlow inside. She was talking to Jessica, and not just chatting. She was coaching her, giving her exact final exam questions and walking her through the answers. Not hints, not study tips, the actual questions. I froze, pulled out my phone, and recorded the whole thing through the small crack in the door. I didn't take it to the principal. I went to Jessica first. She looked confused when I showed her the video. At first, she kind of smiled like it was a joke or misunderstanding. But the longer she listened, the more serious her face got. She had no idea Ms. Harlow was giving her special treatment. She thought all the praise, the grades, the test answers, it was all earned. When she realized it wasn't, you could see the betrayal hit her. The next morning, Jessica marched into the principal's office with my phone in hand. She didn't try to protect Ms. Harlow, she just told the truth. Ms. Harlow was placed on administrative leave, and an investigation started immediately. All her grades from the past 2 years were audited. Turns out Jessica wasn't the only one. There were a few others, star athletes mostly, whose grades had been suspiciously inflated. Jessica gave up the scholarship. It couldn't be justified anymore, and to her credit, she didn't try to hold on to it. Instead, she reapplied to colleges using her actual GPA and her own essays, without anyone interfering. Funny thing is, she still got into an even better school than the one she originally planned on. She was genuinely smart and capable. She just didn't need the favoritism in the first place.